Hello, everyone, and welcome in. This is Aaron St. Dennis at FF Mad Scientist, joined by Jesse Moeller at JMoeller05 and Jeremy Shulman at FF_Rebel. We are here today for the NFL Week 14 Waiver Wire Show. How's it going, guys?
It is going.
Yeah.
It is very much going. We're in the process of getting the house all decorated, all the stuff going on. I'm like the only house on the block that's doing Christmas decorations. And I'm like, come on, people, get it together. And they're just not doing it. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess we're going to show out.
Are you doing it all outside?
Yeah. Like I got to finish. Yeah, we got some like inflatable stuff out front. Like we got a dinosaur because the girl loves dinosaurs. So like dinosaur hanging out the window. You know, we got not Krampus. That helps. We got something at the back. Yeah, so we were very much invested in Christmas.
We will get right into it here and start with the quarterbacks. I'm trying to transition out of my intro here, but I'm so ingrained in it. I was listening to that podcast with Alan Soslowski the other day, and I don't know if you've seen any of their tips, but they said, you'll notice in the first 30 seconds, you lose a lot of your viewers. So skip your fucking intro. Nobody cares who you are. Get to the important shit. Tell them who you are at the end of your show.
I care about your Christmas decoration, Jesse.
That's right.
Yeah. Keep in mind, he's drinking as he says it, though. So.
Hey, I got water today. We got water.
That's the best kind of audience. The drunk audience is the best audience.
All right, let's get into it. The QB waiver wire is a fucking gold mine just because there's so many backups. Can you ever remember a season where there were this many backup quarterbacks playing? Like, I look at my weekly rankings. To be a top 16 quarterback, you just had to start for your team in week 1. 17 or 18, all the way to 32, backup. But like, look at this list here. I mean, Russell Wilson's a backup, but he's the starter. But what are you doing, Jesse? I look over at you like this.
I was sneezing. And I had nothing.
Oh, like, wow, he was really offended by my Russell Wilson comment. But
don't talk about the ex-Seahawk like that.
All right. So we'll start with the top two options. Top two levels of options here are the ones that are actually going to be starters. Most of them are only available in like maybe a quarter of single QB leagues because they're all QB2s. You got Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, Sam Howell. If any of them are still available in your league, you should have them. I mean, I guess at this point, you're going to see them. I noticed these actually went down. Some of them didn't qualify because I cut it off at 80%, but it went down because we've got a lot of leagues where these guys were dropped because bye weeks have passed, with the exception of 2 this week. So, and I think Sam Howell was one of the 2 buys this week. Then the medium level, we've got Jordan Love, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield. These are the guys where they're, like I said, they're more super flex targets. Jordan Love's starting to become interesting where I'm hearing him in 1 QB league, but I don't think I start him in any 1 QB leagues, but I don't have a whole lot of him. Deeper leagues is where we get into some of the backups here. Probably the creme de la creme of the backups. We've got Josh Dobbs, Gardner Minshew, and Jameis Winston. Those have been the best. I think I would even elevate Joe Flacco up. He was good. The dart throws, we've got Bailey Zappi, Mitch Trubisky, and my article didn't update. Let me hit update here, and I will show you I added one because I added CJ Beathard. And
you missed one still.
Who's that?
Jake the Snake Browning, my man.
I don't know about this. So I have you know what the funny part is? I only added CJ Beathard because someone mentioned it on one of the podcasts, and I was like, is that true? And I looked into it, and he's surprisingly good at putting up a minimum of 20 fantasy points in his occasional spot starts. So, whereas Jake Browning, what did Browning put up last night? I did not watch much of the game.
27. He went bonkers.
Okay. I will add him. This was
32 of 37 for 354, 1 through the air, 1 on the ground.
Gotcha. I will add him now. He was, I went to bed a bit early before that game ended last night. Me and my kid were not feeling well, so he will be a late addition. I didn't know he was that good. Anyway, so what are you guys thinking here? Well, who's the targets you're going after?
Well, if you get to this bottom tier, like I'm fine going with the Flacco or Browning. Like I really don't want to do Bailey Zappi or Mitchell Trubisky. Like we've seen that enough. So I'll take, like we saw Flacco, he almost got you 20 points last week. He was able to conduct that offense in a way they have not been conducted pretty much all season, which is respectable. So like I'm fine with that. But like when you get to the higher guys, yeah, Jordan Love, I much prefer him to Geno at this point. He's just been better the last month plus. He seems like he's come on And he gets the Giants this week. So I'm like, the quarterback's figured it out. He's got the skill position players, and you're playing against the Giants? Yeah. Sign me up. I'm totally fine with that with Jordan Love. He looks like a legit NFL starting quarterback for the next few years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's probably my number one, although I do have a decision I'm facing down for a backup QB in a 1 QB league. I have Lamar. I played Russell last week, but I'm considering dropping Wilson for Love. The problem is Russell Wilson faces the Chargers, the Lions, the Patriots, who have been good on D, but are totally out of it. And then the Chargers again. And the Chargers are just hemorrhaging points. That schedule is phenomenal. So I'm sticking with Wilson, I think, at the moment over Love, just because the schedule is so good.
Right. I love how the Chargers are so bad and the Patriots couldn't even score any points. That's about their other offenses. I was like, goodness gracious, man.
Ugh, it's ugly, man. We're on to next season. We're on next season over here.
Wow. That's a lovely schedule, though, there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice for Russell. Like, I like Russell, dude. I think he's going to do very well. He struggled last week, but like he should bounce back and be fine. Like I think he had 11 rushing attempts again, so they are running him quite a bit. Like it's Justin Fields level usage of rushing, which is kind of surprising. But hey, get it, Russ.
I cannot believe every time I do this article, I cannot believe how low the rostership is for Sam Howell. And like I said, he puts up he goes up to 80, 90%. Then he has one bad game or his bye week's coming up, and you'll see him go down to 60, 70% again. Then he'll have a great game and he goes back up to 90%. Like, it's unbelievable how quickly everyone bails out on Sam Howell on a semi-weekly basis. So I know at this point it's like, no, there's no way Sam Howell's available in my league, and he probably isn't, but he double check because, like I said, he's on bye. I think it's Arizona, Washington are the last 2 buys this week.
I think so.
I believe so.
I don't know.
I'm actually not sure. Now I need to look.
I'm pretty sure, but assuming that's true, I don't know how many people would be holding on to Sam Howell through his bye week. So if you could afford to, go grab Sam Howell. I like Kyler, obviously. I think I like Jordan Love over Russell Wilson as well. I would have said I'd go Howell, Kyler, Love, Wilson, Geno, Baker for the top group here. I added Browning for you. This group, I think they're all pretty much the same. I think Jameis is going to have the highest ceiling, but he's also going to have the lowest floor. And then this group is kind of desperation. I much prefer Joe Flacco out of the final, like the dart throw group here. I want nothing to do with Zappy. I want really nothing to do with Trubisky. And if I'm really desperate, I have a league where it's super flex. It's that vampire league where you can steal. I had Herbert, Lawrence, and Mac Jones. Someone stole Herbert from me a couple weeks ago. Mac Jones I dropped because he's crap. So I have Lawrence, who looks like he's hurt, and I stole Kyler last week, who's on bye. So you have to start one quarterback, or it's an illegal lineup, and you can't win. So I could possibly be starting Mitchell Trubisky, Bailey Zappi, any of these guys. I'm going to be starting one of them. What's that?
Go get yourself Jake Browning. Do it.
I think he's owned, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, they're playing Indy. I will say Dobbs plays Vegas this week. So if you're looking for someone to stream, fire up Dobbs. That Vegas defense is trash. He should put up a whole lot of points. And he gets Justin Jefferson back this week, too. So, that's nice.
Yeah, I agree. One note quick on Geno. They play San Francisco, who's been giving it up because they're scoring points and they can't stop anybody. Then he plays Philly, who we know what what this man just did, has no business doing that in the NFL. But anyone can do that on Philadelphia, and Geno will go nuclear, then Tennessee, and then Pittsburgh. So it could be a legit, really league-winning run from Geno Smith through the end of the year in the playoffs. So
we covered pretty much all of the top 10 trending quarterbacks on Sleeper. The lone exceptions are Taysom Hill, but nobody's playing him at a quarterback's position, so I didn't mention him. And Matthew Stafford, which is odd to me. Was he that bad, or I thought he was good? He was. He said back-to-back 31-point weeks. I'm not sure why he's 50% owned, but if that's true, I would be adding him. I might actually go in and edit this article while we move on. I would be adding him here to the second group with Jordan Love, this group here.
If you don't need him next week against Baltimore, Washington, New Orleans, and the New York Giants, not bad.
That could be why. They could just, people aren't holding him for, who'd you say, Baltimore?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I remember. See, that's what it was, though. I remember, and now that you mention it, he's had back-to-back. I don't know if it's back-to-back or back-to-back-to-back weeks where it was worst matchup, then it was the worst matchup, then it was the worst matchup, where it was something like, I know it was Cleveland last week and Baltimore this week. Maybe people just looked and said, "Ooh, 3 terrible matchups in a row, and I don't want to play him." So that could be it. But you're right. If you can go on, or if you can get him and stash him for next week, he could be worthwhile. Let's move on to the running backs here. Shallow league options: Zach Charbonnet, AJ Dillon, Kareem Hunt. It's not great this week. Medium league options, I think, are the best ones here, aside from maybe Zach Charbonnet if Walker's out. But medium league, we've got Chuba Hubbard, Zeke, who looks like he's going to be the lead back in New England, with Ramondre set to miss a couple of weeks. Antonio Gibson could also be the same with Brian Robinson out. We have Dearness Johnson, Kenny Gainwell, and the Italian stallion Samaje Parini in the deeper league. And then for your dart throws, we've got Spears. Actually, this group I don't mind here. I like the dart throw more than I like the deeper range, because Taji's been good. Chandler, I think, is the number 1. And Michael Carter, I think, could see a bigger role with James Conner always struggling with injuries. So I think my favorites are the 3 in this medium group here of Hubbard, Elliott, and Gibson. And then I like the bottom 3 here, Spears and Chandler. I really like Chandler. I think Chandler might be my favorite on this entire list, but it's close. What do you guys think?
Can you throw up the list real quick? Yeah, Chandler's okay, except he still hasn't been the number 1. Madison is the guy who's getting the work. They had a weird one against Chicago. Neither guy got a lot of work. They just had to kind of throw it for their lives there. So I'm still not bought in on Chandler just because he's not getting it all. They're gonna feed Madison, all day long. But for me, I like. I'm trying to think. Hubbard, right? That's not a good offense, but he is somehow just overcoming it. Due to pure volume. He's Rashad White light, except he has the potential to score more points than White. Miles Sanders completely phased out, which is great. And then Perine is an interesting option. Samaje Perine.
He did it. He did it.
But I do, I think I would probably go in a different direction. Someone like Gibson, who could see the bulk of the work. Chris Rodriguez might also be pretty interesting, depending on what Brian Robinson's issue is, because we know they want to use Gibson in the passing game. So Rodriguez, they've been giving him some looks when Robinson has been out. So could be an interesting, like, end of your bench, 0 fab dart throw.
Yeah, I'm with you. I glitched out, so I didn't catch most of that. But yeah, for me, it's like, if you're just chasing volume, it's Zeke, because we saw how heavily they used him moving forward. So, like, I get it. It sounds gross, but he's going to get insane volume. And really, it's like the middle tier guys are exactly the ones I want. I want Hubbard. I want Zeke. I want Gibson. I want all those guys who are getting volume. Like we've talked about it. Miles Sanders is the worst running back in the NFL this year. Like, he's just been atrocious. He's been terrible. Chuba Hubbard, like, he had one of his best games, and that should move for him. So, like, that middle tier, I'm targeting all of those guys, and I would happily throw whatever fab I had to get them on my roster, because you're getting production for the next month, which is, like, everybody needs it. So, yeah, I'm all aboard those guys.
Yep.
Spears, man. I like Spears this week, too.
Yep.
Who they playing?
I don't know. I just mean, I think Henry's out, and it's Miami. That's who it was.
They get Miami, Houston, and Seattle. So
they're going to need him for Miami and Houston, that's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So did I not switch us back over to the chart after last week?
Yeah, I can't see.
Is that what you said? Can you tell us the list? I was on the screen, my bad. I thought I switched us back over.
No, you're good. Dearness Johnson, I was interested in a couple weeks ago, but I'm just not loving the usage there, especially with Beathard in. It should be the ETN show. They're just going to need him to check down whenever Beathard's on the field. It really depends if he can pass block. I'm not quite sure, but as far as the running game is concerned, he's not getting enough looks.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
I'm going to check the sleeper top 10. It is Chase Brown, who looked really good last night. That's an interesting one.
Do you like Brown?
He had only 9 attempts, 15%, but he did something good with it. That was interesting. He had 9 carries, 61 yards. They also have both Bears running backs. I'm not sure if I want anything to do with Khalil Herbert or Roschon Johnson at this point. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of upside. They got the Lions, Browns. Lions, Browns, Falcons. No thanks. I will pass the Bears. Then we have Keaton Mitchell on the list. I don't know if I want to play this. He's not a terrible option, but it's another. Those are 2 backfields, the Ravens and Bears. I think I'd like to just steer clear of as best I could. And that
those are the 2 backfields we're seeing changes. Like with Roschon, he saw I think like 70% of snaps in a lot of the work. So if he's efficient, he's going to be good. And like Mitchell, he's earning more work, so he's theoretically cutting into Gus's workload. So it's getting closer to like a true time shift between the 2 of them. So there's upside with it.
I would add the Bengals. I would add Chase Brown. He looks so good. He's deserving of more touches. The problem is, they're just going to need to. He's never going to get it in the end zone, right? They're just going to continue to go to Joe Mixon, who's going to score. He's going to have Gus Edwards lines or Jerome Bettis lines where he's like 3 for 3 and 3. It's three attempts, 3 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So Chase Brown can do it between the 20s, and they used him a lot in that area last week. So.
Yeah, I think they're trying to give Mixon some less work because they don't want to wear him down.
I mean, they should. That's smart.
Yeah.
That's the spirit. He did look good though. It seemed like it's one of those games where I watched it and I swear every time, I watched the first half. Every time I looked up, I swear it was Chase Brown carrying the ball. And then when you look at his stat lines, it's like, what did I just happen to see the only 9 carries he had all night?
Yeah.
And I swear, I was like, did they lose Mixon? What the hell's going on here? But they did not. He was just good. All right, let's switch over again. Go to wide receivers. Top options. Some of these guys, I don't know how they're still available in any leagues, but okay. Shallow leagues, I've got Rashee Rice, Jacoby Myers, and Christian Watson. Medium leagues, Noah Brown, Curtis Samuel, Josh Downs. Deeper options, Greg Dortch, Jamison Williams, Elijah Moore. And the dart throws, Trey Palmer, Rondell Moore, Alec Pierce. How do you guys feel about any of those?
So is Jaden Reed not on your list at all? Because I feel like
he was over the cap. He was 81%.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, it's Noah Brown for me. Like they're losing Tank Dell, so Noah Brown slots right into that wide receiver 2 role. And that is one of the best offenses in the NFL. And we saw what he did earlier in the year. I get it. His career has been very disappointing up to this point, but this year he's hitting and we'll see this route. So he's the one guy below that elite tier of guys. Like if you can get those guys like Watson, basically, I think he's gonna be done for the year. So unfortunately, as much as I liked him, that doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. Yeah, it's him. And then I would say, take a flyer on Greg Dortch or Elijah Moore because we don't know how good Cooper's going to be with that injury. So Elijah Moore with Joe Flacco, he saw the targets. I thought it was going to be Njoku. Turns out it was Elijah Moore. He saw 12 targets. So if you're seeing that type of volume, I'm all aboard the train with that.
Yep. On Noah Brown, weeks 15 and championship week 17, they play the Titans. Divisional matchup, so you never know what can happen, but the Titans are terrible in the back end. Noah Brown could feast as they try to stop Nico from feasting. CJ Stroud's going to get it to his guys. So I really like Brown as a stash if you're a contender and you need him at the end. Those are 2 really nice matchups. Rashee Rice, what is he doing on waivers? Go get him immediately if he's available in your league. He probably isn't, but 70% rostered is stupid. Go get Rashee now. It doesn't matter. Mahomes is good enough to get it to him, and he's proven it over the last couple of weeks. And then the only other guy I really like is Trey Palmer. He's getting looks even over Chris Godwin. It's a little crowded there, but Palmer's just an interesting guy. Who could over the last couple of weeks kind of blow up here, other than maybe Josh Downs. I like Palmer as kind of a stash to see what happens the last few weeks.
Yeah,
another stash I have that it didn't even make my list. He's literally 0% rostered. And it's kind of in case Noah Brown misses. I'm adding right now John Mechie to the list for Houston. I think he looked good. He finally got some looks last week after Dell went out. He was awesome in college. I know he's dealt with leukemia, so I kept him off the field for his rookie year, but I added him at the end here. Actually, he's 1%, sorry. I don't mind Mechie. Like I said, it's kind of a backup in case Noah Brown isn't a thing. The other two that I added from Sleeper were...
The Parker Washington's a good one because like he saw 34 of the 44 like routes run last night. Basically, he stepped right in and when Kirk left, so he's like the wide receiver 3 in that offense. And I get it. It's no T-Law, but, like, you're getting volume. So, like, he's a guy you should at least throw a dart on if it's a deeper league.
I think Parker Washington made the list, if nothing else, for how pretty that catch was.
Yeah. That was nice.
That was awesome.
I'm going to pull up this question.
Oh, I didn't even see it. Sorry, go ahead.
Are you guys dropping to Kyler for anyone like Tajay, Roshan, or Zeke? Because they said they could get their handcuff running backs like Dowdle or Algier.
Probably not.
I'm assuming they can't trade
he doesn't need Kyler. If you need a running back, I would drop him for Tyjae Spears.
Yeah. If you need, like, I'd be fine with him or Zeke, honestly. Like, I think Zeke's going to see the volume. And, like, I like Roshan a lot, but I just don't know if he's going to see the volume that Zeke's going to see. So I'm fine chasing it.
I could do it for Zeke as well. I wouldn't do it for Dowdle or Algier. I guess Roshan even. If you want to do it for this week and then pray Roshan hits, I guess you could, but
Kyler is playing. He's got a bye this week, then San Francisco, Chicago, and Philly in week 17. Do not give Kyler to your opponent for the championship game. That's my real concern there.
I don't even look at that. Like, what are the odds?
Well, like
for Tajay and Roshan, I mean, you probably don't need these guys in a pinch. I'm gonna hold Kyler ransom.
It comes down to positional need if you need it. Because what are the odds the guy you drop is the guy who actually needs Kyler, plays him, and you meet him that championship week? I'm a firm believer of all the one-off positions: kicker, DST, tight end, quarterback. If they're one of only one starter, the second my buy is passed, and the second I'm about to hit the playoffs here, I've dropped all my. I've dropped every backup I have. I'm not carrying 2 quarterbacks.
Here's a question, right? Week 17, do you play Kyler against Philly in that juicy matchup, or do you play Josh Allen?
I'm playing Josh Allen.
Against New England in a divisional matchup where, New England doesn't have much to play for except to beat up on Josh Allen. When they played beforehand, Allen was QB4, but we know that New England can play him tough.
I don't care if it's 3 feet of snow in New England. I'm still playing Josh Allen.
Well, also Kyler has not been good. Like, that's the other thing about this. Like, Kyler has not been good, like, at all. He's been really bad from passing standpoint. So, like, I am worried about the accuracy with him. So I get it. Like, if you need a running back, like you need someone to give you points, I'm fine with that move. Like, I get it. And as much as I love Kyler, he's like top 8 dynasty quarterback for me. You got Allen. I wouldn't worry too much about it because the trade deadline's passed, I'm assuming. So, like, you can't trade him. So,
it's a tough one. I mean, I just don't love those guys. Don't move the needle for me. I know RB injuries come up, but that's my issue.
I just rather the stash because, like, I have a better chance of needing a stash at running back or wide receiver than I do. If I lose Josh Allen, I'm screwed anyways. I mean, Kyler might get you by, but I don't want to be playing Kyler. So it's the same with me. It's why I have Howell in a lot of leagues that I've dropped him because he's on bye this week. I need the player, and I'm not playing him over Mahomes, Hurts, whoever I had as my starter. He was found money, and I get it. Oh, well, your opponent's going to pick him up, and he's going to have a better quarterback. Whatever. It's QB.
Motherfucker is an MVP talks because of what he did against the Philadelphia Eagles. Look it up. The Philadelphia Eagles are absolute trash. If you think that Kyler isn't going to be a top 6 quarterback week 17, I can't. I don't know what else to say. It has
nothing to do with him being a top 6 quarterback. It is to do with Josh Allen's a top 2 quarterback or top 3 quarterback. I can't do it. Speaking of motherfuckers, you should have heard me last night. So in the league, I needed to win to get in. And having said that, I ended up getting in. It was that monster league I was telling you about. Going into last night, I was down 40 something points or whatever. It's wonky scoring though. So 40 points is like 8 points. I had Trevor Lawrence and Jamar Chase, who won it for me alone. But every fucking time the ball goes to Calvin Ridley, he dropped the goddamn ball for 3 quarters. And I'm going, just catch one fucking ball, Calvin Ridley. It's like he knew that if he caught it, I was going to get Trevor Lawrence. I'm going, you dirty rat bastard.
It's the volume, man. It's the volume.
Yeah, fuck Calvin Ridley. Good day. I mean, and then fucking, it was funny because it was 52 points. I went into the game needing 52 points. At halftime, I still needed 47 points. That's how bad Chase and Lawrence were. And then Lawrence goes out, but I ended up winning by 60 or something anyways, because a Jamar Chase 79-yard touchdown will do that for you. So
insane.
The only other ones we missed here at wide receiver on sleeper were Jonathan Mingo, who looked all right, but I don't really want any part of this offense. Brandon Cooks, once again, he's got 5 of his last 7 games over 14 points. That's deceivingly, or that's
every
deceptive.
Cowboy.
A lot of touchdowns.
Yeah,
a lot of
it is. And it's only with the exception of one game, it's on 5 or less targets.
Fun. Like if he's getting decent volume, and in that offense, it's supportable because of how much
it's
they
like
score.
it's a touchdown with 15 yards per target here, so it's completely unsustainable. But they also have Alec Pierce, JSN, Nico Collins. But that's,
oh God, if you get Nico,
I mean, you got to go get Nico.
None of them. Nico's 89% rostered.
Yeah,
so it didn't meet my.
I don't know.
It didn't meet my minimum or max.
That makes sense.
Like, no thanks.
Yeah,
Let's switch over and close it out here with tight end. That is insanely deep, which is something I never thought I'd see. If any of these guys are available, more specifically the top 2 in your league, get Trey McBride, get Pat Freiermuth. When my dynasty rankings come out later this week, they're both, I think, going to be top 6. McBride, I think, is 3 or 4 in dynasty tight ends right now.
Sure.
Medium league, we got Taysom Hill is the best option, I think, by far. Logan Thomas is your safe option. K-Dot, I don't know what the hell he is because he's on the field for 98% of snaps and still somehow didn't record a stat last week. These ones are your desperation ones. Yeah. My theory here is Tyler Higbee, Gerald Everett, and Chigo Okonkwo. Before game time, go and whatever one Jeremy talks shit about, that's who you stream that week. And then for these guys down here, Juwan Johnson, Tucker Kraft, and Tyler Conklin, whichever one I say good things about, that's who you fade and you go with the opposite guy. Because last week, I needed a tight end everywhere, and I streamed Juwan Johnson everywhere, who put up a big fat old Baker Mayfield 0. Not Baker Mayfield. What the hell was his name? Johnny Manziel. Sorry. The Browns.
Oh, I was like, who?
Nah, Johnny Manziel. Browns quarterbacks, they're all the same. What the hell difference is
Yeah, they're all bad. They're all bad.
So
I will say Taysom Hill is going he's going against Carolina, and they're giving up 1.7 rushing touchdowns per game, a.k.a. Taysom Hill is getting in the end zone, folks. So if he's available.
This earlier, didn't you?
Yeah, I saw someone's tweet, and I was like, perfect. We're going to talk about Taysom Hill. Yeah, so, like, his usage is absurd. It's just, it's a whirlwind. Like, I'm riding Taysom Hill. Like, he's going to be a top probably 5 or 6 tight end when I do rankings this week. Yeah. All aboard Taysom Hill. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And don't forget about Jake Ferguson up at the top, because who's he playing next week? The Philadelphia Eagles. Let's go. Every Cowboy for the rest of the season, you play them. He's going to go absolutely bonkers. Then it's Buffalo, Miami, Detroit. It sets up amazingly for the Cowboys for the end of the season. I have a lot of Jake Ferguson. I want more. If he's available, go get him.
I've also added in Isaiah Likely here. He is incredibly risky. He has not looked great, so there's that. I don't know. So if you guys, you would agree here, McBride and Freiermuth are the top 2 options, I would assume. Unlikely to be available, but
I don't love
Freiermuth tier with those guys.
I might put Ferguson over Freiermuth.
If I was doing these, like, McBride's in a tier of his own, like he's like God tier. He's way up here. Fair. Like no one's touching McBride, and then it's like Freiermuth and Taysom Hill and like those guys and Ferguson's all kind of together.
Yep, that's fair. Trevor Lawrence, right high ankle sprain. Everything is stable.
So does that mean he's playing this week or not?
No, Doug Peterson didn't say. The team will see where he is in a couple of days.
Yeah, he'll probably be back like week 16 or something. Like it's probably gonna be a few weeks.
Means I have no quarterback going into the playoffs. Is what it means.
Yeah, like, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Oh God. I wanted. All right, I'm gonna switch over to sleeper here, and we'll close it out. Actually, I'm not switching over. I'm just reading it. The only ones we missed, they have Brevin Jordan. I'm not a big fan of him. I think you brought this up in the recap the other day. That was his highest snap share, 75% of his career. It was still only 4 targets, 3 catches for 64 yards, 10 points. He's not the worst option, but he ain't the best. They also have Tanner Hudson, who has 4 or 5 targets in pretty much each of his last 5 games. If you need a desperation tight end who's going to get you 10 points, he's an option. He has no ceiling whatsoever. And Dallas Goedert, he didn't make my list because he's at 84%, but if he's on your waiver wire, who knows? This is like 3 weeks in a row where I thought he was going to be back and he hasn't been back, or 2 weeks in a row anyways. They have Dallas this week, Seattle, Giants, and Cardinals. He's not a bad option, despite the fact that I'm never a big fan of him. He's probably just low-end tight end 1, but he has some potential. Any other thoughts before we close her out here, guys?
I mean, you can make a case for Brevin Jordan if you really wanted to. It's just the offense is so good. It's like he's going against the Jets, though, so it's like, man, I would not be too excited to start this week.
Yeah, I mean, and with Hudson, he's always open somehow. I mean, obviously Burrow has the higher upside, when Burrow's there and he's not there, so it's a risk. But just one bit of news before we go, and a question in the chat. Yeah. The news is the Jets have cut Tim Boyle.
Well, you lose your job to Trevor Siemian, you should probably be cut.
Yeah.
And like this is the most obvious drop situation. AJ Dillon, yes, like get him off your roster.
I prefer Hubbard, but for
Hubbard.
Either.
Oh yeah. No. Hubbard. 100%.
Hubbard and like whoever is basically available. Like if they're both available, Hubbard and then Zeke. I'm fine with either one. Zeke's probably gonna see more usage, but like I really don't care between the two of them. They'll be fine.
I feel like Zeke is AJ Dillon. I don't want either.
You know why Hudson's always open too? They have Boyd, Higgins, Chase, and Mixon on the field. Defense is like, fuck it, we can't cover everyone.
Yep,
there's not a more frustrating asset than Tyler Boyd. I can't stand Tyler Boyd. He's the most frustrating asset. You try to play him, you're getting 5 points. He just chills on your bench. He's a roster clogger, man. I can't stand Tyler Boyd.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for tuning in. We will be back Thursday at noon for AFC preview, I think. Yes, Patriots, Steelers. Good God. You may want to skip the first 5 minutes of that one where we preview that game. Hell, I might skip the first 5 minutes of that one. Can we just have 5 minutes of silence to start the show and then we'll move on to the next game?
Guys, I'm busy Thursday. I'm busy. I can't make it.
All right. Well, we will see you Thursday for AFC, Friday for NFC. Take care, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.
Later, guys.